Welcome to 2016 Presidential Candidate Interviews. Today I am interviewing Mr. Richard Petersen, who would like to go by Mr. P. Mr. P is running as an independent. Hello, Mr. P, and welcome to the interview. How are you doing?
I'm deeply honored, and I'm great.
Well, thank you for participating. Let's start off with some getting to know you questions, and then get into the issues-based questions.
All right.
Can you describe your family and your home life?
I'm 73 years old. My birthday is tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
I live alone with my dog Skipper. My mother and father are both with Jesus Christ now. I have a wonderful Aunt Ethel who's over 100 years of age. So they're good genes of my family. And my sister lives in Arlington, and we're close, of course. And she has a wonderful husband, a brother-in-law, who just recovered from heart surgery. So we're thanking God that he was able to come through. And I'm a very blessed man and a very happy man, because no matter what happens with this election, I am unashamedly telling you that the Spirit of Jesus Christ lives in my life.
Can you describe your employment and your work experience?
For many, many years, I sold in the insurance business, annuities, medical insurance. Prior to that, I sold textbooks in public schools. But the majority of my life has been spent in the insurance business, and I also have a hobby known as day trading, where I'm very successful making money online, predicting the direction of the market.
Okay. Do you have any other hobbies or interests?
No, other than I read a lot, especially in the area of spiritual literature.
Okay. Any favorite authors you'd want to mention?
I would say probably my favorite author of all times, and he was really a writer of speeches more than anything, would be Abraham Lincoln.
Okay. Any favorite spiritual authors?
Oh, there's so many, but one would be Joel Goldsmith. Number one would be Joel Goldsmith, the author of The Infinite Way.
Okay. Do you have a favorite place to eat out?
Anywhere there's a light shining and food cooking.
Okay. How about a favorite fast food joint?
Oh, I like them all. I particularly like Arby's roast beef.
Okay. Do you have any favorite junk food, candy, chips, anything?
Oh, famous Amos, cookies, M&Ms, ice cream in all shapes and forms. Watermelon, ice cold watermelon. I eat a lot of that.
Okay. Favorite TV shows and movies?
I love Netflix, and I love political drama. I particularly enjoyed Kevin Spacey in The House of Cards.
All right. I think you mentioned a dog earlier. Do you have any other pets?
No, Skipper's the only one.
Okay. And the final getting to know you question. Can you name a song that might represent you, that you might consider an anthem, a motto?
Yes. In fact, I'm a local celebrity in Dallas on the karaoke scene, and I'm well known for singing Frank Sinatra's tunes, and my favorite tune is That's Life.
Okay. Now on to the more substantive questions. Why are you running for president?
I'm running for president because I've looked at all 16 or so candidates on both the Republican side and the Democratic side, and none of them are offering any real content. I've already written my inaugural speech. It's already on the Internet. If you go to goldmoneyparty.com, you'll see that I've told the American people what they're going to receive if they elect me president. The other candidates, if you want to think about them, are like cans of food in the supermarket with no ingredients listed. They look pretty, but they're You don't know what you're going to get inside that can because they don't list the ingredients. It is my feeling that anybody who wants the most powerful job on earth needs to have a resume, and the resume of a candidate should be his inaugural speech. He ought to have in mind what he's going to do when he's elected instead of flying by the seat of his pants, for example, the way Donald Trump is.
What abilities would you bring to the office of president?
The first and foremost ability is that I'm guided by the wisdom, intelligence, love, and guidance of the Holy Spirit of Jesus Christ. I'm not ashamed of him. I'm not ashamed to proclaim his name and the benefits that he showered upon me. And I'm going to tell the American people right now that I'll make no decision, big or small, and of course all decisions presidents make are big, without consulting my elder brother, Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Can you name a president or two you have a favorable opinion of?
Abraham Lincoln, okay. John F. Kennedy.
Are there any aspects of their presidency you would want to emulate?
Absolutely. Both of them were opposed to funny money. They were opposed to the banks taking over the currency of the nation. They were opposed to giving cartels control over the money of the American people. And they supported the constitutional provision that said Congress shall have the right to print money, not some private bank. And both of them were shot for those views. They gave their life trying to bring American currency back into the ownership of the American people. And I'm the only candidate who knows that, or others may know it, but I'm the only candidate with the courage to tell the American people that they are slaves of a banking cartel. The whole world is in slavery to the banking cartel.
Can you name a president or two you do not have a favorable opinion of and who did things you did not like?
Woodrow Wilson, who enacted the Federal Reserve Act, giving up our control of the nation's money.
Are there any functions of government you would like to decrease or abolish, and why? And I think I can guess one of them.
Number one, it is not the size of government, whether it's big or small, that matters. It's the efficiency of government. But one department that is extremely inefficient is the IRS. I want it abolished, and I want us to go to a flat tax or a very simple graduated tax, 3 brackets only, 10, 20, and 28. And then the other organization I want abolished is the Federal Reserve Bank. I want it abolished, and I want the American people to give the currency over to the U.S. Treasury. Burn all the Federal Reserve notes. They're unconstitutional and backed by nothing. And our new money will be called the U.S. dollar. It will not be a Federal Reserve note. And so those two, and the Department of Education needs to be destroyed. We need to start educating our kids on the Internet from preschool all the way to graduate school. And I'll make sure that every home has access to the Internet and computers so they can start teaching their children by the greatest educational minds in the world. I will still have classrooms, but they'll all be torn down and rebuilt by all the unemployed workers, and I'm going to give cash vouchers to completely renovate the infrastructure of the United States. Bridges, highways, schools.
Are there
all brand under my presidency.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'm going to give jobs to millions of Americans at $15 an hour and give the employers cash vouchers to hire them. So the unemployed won't get unemployment checks. They'll get a cash voucher to get up off their lazy butts and go get work. I'm going to pay their salary for 1 year.
Are there any functions of government you would like to add to or increase? Is there anything that doesn't exist in government that you would like?
What doesn't exist in government right now is a president with a vision, a president who has contents on his food label, a president who has the ability to sway and lead the American people in public opinion, a president who knows how to use the most powerful microphone on earth in order to make things happen, both here and abroad. to serve the interest of the greatest people on earth, the people of the United States of America.
Describe your stance on taxation.
I've already said I want to abolish the IRS and go to a flat tax or a very simple, right on the back of your hand tax code, 3 levels only, 10, 20, and maybe 28 at the most. No deductions, period, end of story. Maybe charitable and house interest, that's about it.
Describe your stance on the abortion pro-choice issue.
I am absolutely opposed to abortion. Women don't have a right to their bodies or their children's bodies. God is the creator of the human body and of the child. Only He has the right to remove that life. I will not leave it up to let me put it this way. I believe it should be a state issue, but I intend to get on Air Force One and march in front of the abortion clinics with true members of our Christian church who every day are getting out there, rain or shine, and telling these ladies they have a choice not to kill God's life. And I will preach from the pulpit of the presidency against abortion. I will tell these ladies that God loves them and will forgive them, but they must admit that when they slaughter the life of one of God's children, they are committing murder. They must confess the sin and repent of it. However, I will not pass laws. I will use the power of the golden microphone of the President of the United States to convict these women of the sin of murdering their children. And I will love them, bless them, and tell them that Jesus will freely forgive them as long as they don't continue to slaughter the innocents.
What role should our military play in the world?
The military should be part of an overall strategy involving, for example, let's talk about ISIS, okay? What we need to do is, when I'm president, I will call a meeting of the War College and all of the people and all of the agencies in our defense and intelligence. We will go to Camp David and we will map out a strategy for the destruction of these regressive forces in the Middle East, okay? We will do propaganda warfare, and I will be the chief propagandist. Every day I will take the microphone of the presidency in my hand, and I won't just conduct press conferences. I'll go to war against ISIS, and I'll go to war against these people that are murdering their own citizens, and I'll go to war with words. In addition, I'll prepare to war in the event that we locate an atomic bomb being built, and I think we will. When we locate it, the plans will already be in place for us to invade the Middle East by air, by land, and by sea. I'll have all the plans drawn out, just as I've written my inaugural speech, and we will go over there and we will win that war, and I'll put an American general like MacArthur to be a dictator in the Middle East for a period no less than 15 years until those people start behaving like human beings instead of ravenous, murderous beasts.
How do you perceive the issues of race and discrimination in our country?
I think that here's the solution for that, okay? First of all, if you cut a black man, he bleeds the same color as you do, or a Spanish man, or any other, okay? People should be judged by how they love and respect other people. And whether you're a Mexican, a Negro, or a white man, if you're a scumbag and commit murder, violence, and theft, I fully intend to use all the powers of my voice as President of the United States to put you away in prison until you never see the light of day. I hate violence, and the violence will suffer violence from my hand as President. Of whatever race, of whatever creed, and whatever color.
How do you handle immigration and border security?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to increase border security. I really don't care about a wall, but here's what we're going to do. For decades, the American presidents have turned their back on the Mexicans who are here illegally. They pick our cotton, they pick our grapes, they pick our watermelon, they repair our roads, they babysit our children, they cook our meals, they clean our toilets, They stand out in the rain to get jobs, and police departments drive by and wave at them, and they have for the last 30 years. We have used them and not paid them a decent living wage. We have abused them and made them slaves. We owe them something. And here's what I'm going to do for the Mexican people. First of all, I'm gonna do the wall, not a whole big wall like Trump. I'm just going to strengthen. I'm going to put a wall up in the key areas where they're going across. I'm going to, more importantly than that, give them a path to citizenship. Here's what I'm going to do for both legal and illegal aliens here in the United States. I'm going to give you the opportunity to come forth and be fingerprinted and be documented and to have a background check done, okay? If you pass, I'm going to put you on probation for 3 years, and at the end of 3 years, I'm going to make you United States citizen. That gets all the good guys out of the shadows, and they get documented, and I know who they are and their criminal record. The guys who don't come forward are the bad guys. That gives our police a better way of identifying them, because if they don't have the papers, they get shipped across the border, and if they come back in, they go to federal prison for 15 years. And if an employer hires them, he goes to prison for 15 years. That's stronger than Donald Trump's wall. And what it does, it attracts the good guys by giving them the path to citizenship, and it leaves all the trash behind to be gathered up and sent back across the Rio Grande.
What role should the federal government play in health care?
Absolutely as little as possible. But the first thing they need to do is have a national health care program like Canada's got for all claims above $10,000. All claims under $10,000 should be turned over to doctors and hospitals. Under my presidency, I will allow them to form little insurance groups and collect monthly premium to take care of preventive care and also to take care of hospital stays. And these little new networks I propose that are being formed will have to advertise their services and prices on the Internet so the American consumer can get what works for them. But all claims $10,000 and up will be covered by the nation. No one will ever have a hospital bill when I'm president over $10,000. In addition, drug companies are utilities in my view, and they are not going to be allowed under my presidency to earn more than a 20% profit. And they will be rigorously have to submit to accounting standards so that they cannot make more than a 20% profit. Same goes for hospitals and doctors. You have to understand, I am not going to allow the American people to be treated as an object of profit and loss. Every American is entitled to a long and healthy life, and there should be no doctor or hospital or drug company that should deny medical care in order to make a profit off the sickness of the American people. I'm going to regulate them like a utility. 20% profit is all they're going to get. And they ought to be happy with that.
What priority would you give repair of infrastructure? What should the federal government's role?
100%. It has to be completely torn down and rebuilt, and I'm going to give cash vouchers to the unemployed to go do the work, okay? Not only the infrastructure, but we need to redo our grid so that if there's an EMP blast, our electricity doesn't go off. And I intend to make that the priority my first day in office, to tear out the grid, not to tear up the grid, but to completely repair it so that it is indestructible.
Where do you stand on protecting personal liberty, personal privacy, and gathering intelligence to fight terrorism?
I believe, that the American people need the right to privacy. It's in the Constitution. I also believe in neural networking observing. I don't believe in eavesdropping on any conversations, but we have the ability using computers to read the neural network. We can tell what people are twittering about by the millions. And if there's a cancer growing and people going on the Internet and talking about recruiting people into violent terrorist organizations, I will send the owners of Google, the owners of Yahoo, and the owners of every Internet search engine, and the owners of Twitter and Facebook will go to prison if they allow anybody to recruit a presidency under my under my leadership as President of the United States. They will not be allowed to have internets in countries. We'll cut them off, and we'll cut their banking off as well. That's one of the first things I'll do when I'm president. They will not have access to the internet. I'm going to make it go dark, and then I'm going to take anyone, including Google or Yahoo or any of these internet, Twitter, Facebook, they go to prison. The owners of these companies go to prison if they allow broadcasting over the internet using their facilities to recruit anybody into terror activity.
What role does faith, religion, spirituality, etc. play in your life, and what type of role would it play for you as president?
I intend to tell the American people about Jesus every day I'm in office. Those who don't know him, I'm going to introduce him every day. Every decision that I make in my presidency will be done in consult with the Holy Spirit of Jesus Christ, who's living inside of me right now.
Be a forecaster. Predict maybe one or two problems facing our country in the future that very few are talking about. What would you do to prepare America for this?
The biggest problem is that we're in a $20 trillion debt that we can never repay. We are in slavery to a banking cartel. Every loan that we make, we have to pay interest first, and we get very little credit toward principal. What nobody's talking about is the slavery of the American people to private banking systems. Under my presidency, we will have a freedom loan where every payment they make, whether it's a student loan, a mortgage loan, or a credit card bill, every payment they make will go credited toward principal first, and no lending authority will have the right to charge more than 8% interest on the remaining balance. I will end the Fed. I will restore the American currency to the ownership of the American people. I will abolish the Federal Reserve, and I will give our currency back to the nation. I will reorganize our debt and make it go away. We are bankrupt. We might as well admit it. And we wouldn't be bankrupt today if Woodrow Wilson hadn't signed the currency over to private banks. And that is what none of the candidates are talking about. It's what Abraham Lincoln talked about, and it's what Kennedy talked about, and it's what I'm talking about, and I'm proud to stand with them.
Everybody has strengths, and everybody has weaknesses. Everybody has something, stuff they're really good at and things they're not really good at. What are some of the things you are not so good at, and what would you do to compensate for those things? I'm
a sugar addict. I love to eat sweet things, and I need to when I get to the White House, I'm sure that the Marines will train me and have me run around a little bit and lose some of my weight. The thing that I'm good at is listening to Jesus Christ every moment of my life and doing what he says.
Okay. Are there any other issues you would like to discuss?
No, I want to tell the American people that if they want one of their own who has turned his back on the Republican and Democratic Party because they're all a bunch of, I won't say they're stupid, they're all self-serving, and they're all too carefully scripted. When I'm president, you will know what I'm thinking. I'll wear my heart on the inside and the outside. And go read my inaugural speech and ask anybody running for president to give you as their resume their inaugural speech. I have a detailed vision of what I'll do when I take the oath of office, and anybody who's just running stupid little ads and slogans has no right to be president unless they give you the resume of their inaugural speech. Go and read it. Go to goldmoneyparty.com and read my speech. You'll know what you get when you vote for me. I'm the can of tomato I am the can on the grocery shelf of the political scene where the contents are listed, and proudly so, because I'm proud of everything that Jesus told me to write down there in that inaugural speech. Go read it. You'll be enlightened. Make it the standard that you hold all the other hack politicians accountable to.
And for some closing remarks, in 2 minutes or less, tell us why we should vote for you.
Because Jesus Christ called me to the job and equipped me for it, and because I will let him guide me on every decision. I don't work as an independent president. I work with my elder brother, Jesus Christ, who's alive and well inside of me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Petersen, for participating in the interview. Thanks again to my listeners for listening. Be sure to check back in the future for more candidate interviews. Have a good day, and remember to keep informed and keep involved. Thank you again, Mr. Petersen.
God bless all of you, and God bless these great United States of America.